This is not a beginner's quiz. Today, we're tackling hard-level Azure Administrator, AZ-104 questions, the exact type of scenarios that are challenging candidates in 2026. If you can confidently solve these, you're ready for the real exam. And make sure you stay till the end. I've got a free PDF and a full mock test waiting for you. Let's get started. Question 16. You have an Azure subscription. You plan to create the Azure storage account as shown in the following exhibit. Based on the information presented, select the answer choice that completes the following statement correctly. The minimum number of copies of the storage account will be A, 1B, 2, C, 3, D, 4. This question tests your understanding of Azure storage redundancy options and how many copies are maintained. The exhibit shows the replication setting as locally redundant storage, LRS. Correct answer. C3. Locally redundant storage, LRS, replicates your data 3 times within a single physical data center in the primary region. Azure distributes these 3 copies across different fault domains, server racks, within that data center to protect against hardware failures. Why the other options are incorrect? 1 copy A would provide no redundancy or data protection. 2 copies, B, is not a standard Azure replication option. 4 copies, D, would require geo-redundant storage, GRS, which uses 3 copies in primary plus 3 copies in secondary region equals 6 total. Quick memory tip, remember, LRS equals 3 local copies. Locally redundant storage always maintains exactly 3 replicas in a single data center. If this video is helping you, support us by hitting the like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more content like this. Question 17. You have an Azure subscription. You plan to create the Azure storage account as shown in the following exhibit. Based on the information presented, select the answer choice that completes the following statement correctly. To reduce the cost of infrequently accessed data in the storage account, you must modify the GORG setting. A. Access tier, default. B. Performance. C. Account kind. D. Replication. This question tests your understanding of Azure storage cost optimization and how to reduce costs for data that is accessed infrequently. The exhibit shows access tier, default, hot, which is the most expensive storage tier but has the lowest access costs. A. Access tier, default. Access tiers in Azure storage are specifically designed to optimize costs based on how frequently data is accessed. The hot tier, currently selected in the exhibit, has the highest storage cost at 0.18 per gigabytes, but the lowest access costs, making it ideal for frequently accessed data. For infrequently accessed data, you should change to the cool tier, 0.01 GB minimum 30 days, cold tier, 0.0443 GB minimum 90 days, or archive tier, 0 GB minimum 180 days. Why the other options are incorrect? Performance, B, affects speed. Standard versus premium, but doesn't optimize costs for infrequent access patterns. Account kind, C, determines storage account capabilities but isn't the primary cost control for access frequency. Replication, D, affects data redundancy and availability, LRS, GRS, etc., but doesn't target infrequent access cost optimization. Quick memory tip, remember, access tier equals access frequency cost control. Hot tier for frequent access, high storage cost, cool, cold, archive for infrequent access, low storage cost. Question 18. You have an Azure subscription that contains the resources shown in the following table. You create a route table named RT1 in the East US Azure region. To which resources can you associate RT1? A. VNet1 only. B. Subnet1 only. C. VNet1 and NIC1 only. D. Subnet1 and NIC1 only. E. V1, Subnet1, and NIC1. This question tests your understanding of Azure route table associations and which Azure resources support route table attachment. The key is understanding that route tables in Azure have specific association rules. Correct answer. B. Subnet1 only. In Azure, route tables can only be associated with subnets, not directly with virtual networks or network interfaces. When you associate a route table with a subnet, the routes automatically apply to all network interfaces, and therefore all VMs within that subnet. A subnet can be associated with 0 or 1 route table, while a route table can be associated with 0 or more subnets. Why the other options are incorrect? VNet1, ACE. Route tables cannot be associated directly with virtual networks. They must be associated at the subnet level. NIC1, CDE. Route tables cannot be associated directly with network interfaces. They inherit routing rules from their subnet association. Quick memory tip. Remember, route tables equals subnet only. You can only associate route tables with subnets, and the routes automatically apply to all NICs within that subnet. Question 19. Note, this question is part of a series of questions that present the same scenario. Each question in the series contains a unique solution that might meet the stated goals. You have an app named App1 that is installed on two Azure virtual machines named VM1 and VM2. Connections to App1 are managed by using an Azure load balancer. The effective network security configurations for VM2 are shown in the following exhibit. You discover that connections to App1 from 131.107.100.50 over TCP port 443 fail. You verify that the load balancer rules are configured correctly. You need to ensure that connections to App1 can be established successfully from 131.107.100.50 over TCP port 443. Solution. You modify the priority of the allow 131.107.100.50 inbound security rule. Does this meet the goal? A. Yes. B. No. This question tests your understanding of Azure NSG rule evaluation and troubleshooting network connectivity issues. Looking at the exhibit, priority 100 allows 131.107.100.50 on port 43, but priority 200 denies any source on port 443. Correct answer B. No. Azure NSG rules are evaluated in priority order, with lower numbers processed before higher numbers. Lower number equals higher priority. Once traffic matches a rule, processing stops. In the exhibit, the allow 131.107.150 rule at priority 100 already has the highest priority and allows traffic from 131.107.100.50 on port 443. The block all other 443 rule at priority 200 is never evaluated for traffic from 111.107.100.50 because it's already matched by the priority 100 rule. Why modifying priority doesn't help? The allow 1131.107.100.50 rule is already being evaluated first, priority 100. Changing its priority won't fix the connectivity issue, since the NSG rule is correctly allowing the traffic. The actual problem likely lies elsewhere, possibly in the destination configuration, application settings, or outbound rules. Quick memory tip. Remember, NSG rules, lower number equals higher priority, evaluated first, then stop. Once a match is found, no other rules are processed. To get the free PDF or mock test, comment PDF or mock or both. I will share the downloadable link within the next 24 hours. Question 20. Note, this question is part of a series of questions that present the same scenario. Each question in the series contains a unique solution that might meet the stated goals. You have an app named App1 that is installed on two Azure virtual machines named VM1 and VM2. Connections to App1 are managed by using an Azure load balancer. The effective network security configurations for VM2 are shown in the following exhibit. You discover that connections to App1 from 131.107.100.50 over TCP port 443 fail. You verify that the load balancer rules are configured correctly. You need to ensure that connections to App1 can be established successfully from 131.107.100.50 over TCP port 443. Solution. You create an inbound security rule that denies all traffic from the 131.101.100.50 source and has a priority of 64999. Does this meet the goal? A. Yes. B. No. This question tests your understanding of Azure NSG rule evaluation and logical troubleshooting. The goal is to allow connections from 131.107.100.50, but the proposed solution creates a deny rule. Correct answer, B, no. The goal is to enable connections from 131.107.100.50 over TCP port 443, but the proposed solution creates a deny rule. This contradicts the objective entirely. Additionally, the exhibit shows that priority 100 already has an allow rule for 131.107.100.50 on port 443, which means the NSG is correctly permitting the traffic. Adding a deny rule at priority 64999, evaluated last, would not be reached anyway, since the traffic already matches the allow rule at priority 100. Why this solution doesn't work. The goal requires allowing traffic, but the solution creates a deny rule. The priority 100 rule already allows the traffic correctly. Priority 64999 is very low priority, processed last, so it wouldn't override the priority 100 allow rule anyway. The connectivity issue likely stems from another layer, application not listening, VM firewall, outbound rules, or backend configuration. Quick memory tip. Remember, need to allow? Don't add deny rules. Always match the action, allow deny to your goal, and check that existing rules aren't already doing what you need.